I don't think anyone has ever read Fortnite's end user license agreement in its full entirety before, because who actually reads license agreements? Nobody really. But in this video, I figured why not read the entire Fortnite end user license agreement in one video and see if I can actually do it. So, yeah, I'm gonna definitely read this whole entire thing in its entirety, and this is literally all it's gonna be. This is the entire video, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. And here we go. Please read this agreement carefully. It is a legal document that explains your rights and obligations related to your use of Epic software, including any services you access or purchases you make through the software. By downloading or using the software, or by otherwise indicating your acceptance of this agreement, you are agreeing to be bound by the terms of this agreement. If you do not or cannot agree to the terms of this agreement, you may not download or use the software. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is just so stupid. In particular, we want to highlight some important terms, policies, and procedures in this agreement. By accepting this agreement, number one, you are also agreeing to other Epic rules and policies that are expressly incorporated into this agreement. Please read them carefully. Our privacy policy explains what information we collect from you and how we protect it. Our fan content policy explains what you can do with Epic's intellectual property in the content you create. Our terms of service explain the rules for our websites. Number two, you grant Epic a license to use whatever content you create using the service. You can find more information in the user-generated content section below. You and Epic agree to resolve disputes between us in an individual I don't even know how to say that word. Arbitration? Not in court. We believe the alternative dispute resolution process of arbitration will resolve any dispute fairly and more quickly and efficiently than formal court litigation. Section 12 explains the process in detail. We've put this up front and in caps because it's important. This agreement contains a binding individual arbitration and class action waiver provision. If you accept this agreement, you and Epic agree to resolve disputes in binding individual arbitration and give up the right to go to court individually or as part of a class action, and Epic agrees to pay your arbitration costs for all disputes of up to $10,000 that are made in good faith. See Section 12. You have a time-limited right to opt out of this waiver. To enter, oh my god, kill me. To enter into this license agreement, you must be an adult of the legal age of majority in your country of residence. You are legally and financially responsible for all actions using or accessing our software, including the actions of anyone you allow to access to your account. You affirm that you have reached the legal age of majority, understand and accept this agreement, including its dispute resolution terms. If you are under the legal age of majority, your parent or legal guardian must consent to this agreement. This is like I think 2 hours long, by the way, this legal user license agreement. So yeah, I'm gonna try and read this as quickly as I can. Certain words or phrases are defined to have certain meanings when used in this agreement. Those words and phrases are defined below in Section 16. If your primary residence in the United States of America, your agreement is with Epic Games Inc. If it is not in the United States of America, your agreement is with Epic Games Entertainment International GmbH. License grant. Epic grants you a personal, non-exclusive, non-transferable, non-sub-licensable, limited right and license to install and use the software on compatible devices you own or control for your personal entertainment. Use the license. The rights that Epic grants you under the license are subject to the terms of this agreement, and you may only make use of the license if you comply with all the applicable terms. The license becomes effective on the date you accept this agreement. The software is licensed, not sold to you under the license. The license does not grant you any title or ownership in the software. License conditions. You may not do or attempt to do any of the following with respect to the software or any of its parts. A. Use it commercially or for a promotional purpose except as Epic expressly authorizes. B. Copy, reproduce, distribute, including via a network server. Display or use it in a way that is not expressly authorized in this agreement. C. Sell, rent, lease, license, distribute, or otherwise transfer it. D. Reverse engineer, derive source code from modify, adapt, translate, decompile, disassemble it, or make God, derivative works based on it. E. Remove, disable, circumvent, or modify any proprietary, I don't even know, notice or label or security technology included in it. F. Create, develop, distribute, or use any unauthorized software programs to gain advantage in any online or other game modes. G. Use it to infringe or violate the rights of any third party, including, but not limited to, any intellectual property, publicity, or privacy rights. H. Use, export, or re-export it in violation of any applicable law or regulation. Or I. Behave in a manner which is detrimental to the enjoyment of the software by other users as intended by Epic in Epic's sole judgment, including but not limited to the following: harassment, use of abuse or offensive language, game abandonment, game sabotage, spamming, social engineering, scamming, running or using methods which are not authorized by Epic and which interfere with the outcome and / or the course of the software, including cheats, bots, scripts, or mods not expressly authorized by Epic, by giving you and / or another user an advantage over players who do not use such methods, or making or otherwise contributing to such unauthorized software. It's already been 8 minutes. Jesus. The software may contain cheat detection software or features, or you may be prompted to install cheat detection software during your installation of the software. If you do not agree to install the cheat detection software or at any time remove or disable the cheat detection software or features, the license granted to you automatically terminates, and you may not make use of the software. The software or the cheat detection software may collect and transmit details about your account, gameplay, and potentially unauthorized programs or processes in connection with cheat detection, subject to Epic's privacy policy in the event that cheats are identified. You agree that Epic may exercise any or all of its rights under this agreement. Updates and patches. Epic may provide patches, updates, or upgrades to the software that must be installed in order for you to continue to use the software or services. Epic may update the software remotely without notifying you, and you hereby consent to Epic applying patches, updates, and upgrades. Epic may modify, suspend, discontinue, substitute, replace, or limit your access to any aspect of the software or services at any time. You acknowledge that your use of the software or services does not confer on you any interest, monetary or otherwise, in any aspect or feature of the software or services, including but not limited to, where applicable, any in-game rewards, trophies, achievements, character levels, game currency, or content. You also acknowledge that any character data, game progress, game customization, or other data related to your use of the software or services may cease to be available to you at any time without notice from Epic, including without limitation after a patch, update, or upgrade is applied by Epic. Epic does not have any maintenance or support obligations with respect to the software or services. Game currency and content. Epic may offer you the ability to acquire licenses to in-game currency, game currency, or content, such as by A. Purchasing a limited license to use game currency for a fee, purchase game currency. B. Earning a limited license to use game currency by performing or accomplishing specific tasks in the software. Or C. Purchasing for a fee, exchanging game currency for or earning a limited license to use content. Also, Epic may facilitate the exchange of certain content for the software, in some cases for a fee. You may only use such game currency or content if you pay the associated fee, if any. When you earn or pay the fee to obtain such game currency or content, you are obtaining or purchasing from Epic the right to have your license include such game currency or content regardless of any references Epic may make outside this agreement to purchasing or selling game currency or content. Both game currency and content are licensed, not sold. How many times can we say game currency and content not sold to you under the license? Use of an Epic account balance to purchase game currency or how many times are you going to re-say that? Game currency or content is subject to Epic's terms of service. Neither game currency nor content are redeemable for money or monetary value from Epic or any other person except as otherwise required by apply oh my god, applicable law. Game currency and content do not have an equivalent value in real currency and do not act as a substitute for real currency. Neither Epic nor any other person or entity has any obligation to exchange game currency or content for any of value, including but not limited to real currency. You agree that Epic may engage in actions that may impact the perceived value or purchase price if applicable. I don't even know how to say that word. Of game currency and content at any time, except as prohibited by applicable law. Applicable law. All purchases of purchased game currency and content are final and are not refundable, transferable, or exchangeable under any circumstances except as otherwise required by applicable law. Epic, in its sole discretion, may impose limits on the amount of game currency or content that may be purchased, earned, accumulated, redeemed, or otherwise used, except as otherwise prohibited by applicable law. Epic, in its sole discretion, has the absolute right to manage, modify, substitute, replace, suspend, cancel, eliminate game currency or content, including your ability to access or use game currency or content without notice or liability to you. You may not transfer, sell, gift, exchange, trade, lease, sublicense, or rent game currency or content except within the software and as expressly permitted by Epic. Except as otherwise prohibited by applicable law, Epic reserves and retains all rights, title, and interest, property, or otherwise, and in and to the game currency and content. A license to the game currency and content under the license will terminate upon termination of the license and as otherwise provided herein. When you provide payment information to Epic or authorized processor, you represent that you are an authorized user of the payment card, PIN key, account, or other payment methods specified by you, and you authorize Epic to charge such payment method for the full amount of the transaction. User-generated content. Oh my fucking god, kill me. Epic may provide features for the software or the services that allow you to create, develop, modify, or contribute content UGC, and to upload, publish, or otherwise make available UGC to some or all users of the services. These features may also allow you to interact with, manipulate, and change UGC in whole or in part. Epic may modify, limit, or discontinue certain features of the service without notice or liability to you. UGC includes without limitation buildings, chat posts, character data, game customization, in-game constructions, replays, cinematics, scripts and programs, modes, gameplay experiences, interactive features and screenshots, music, sound recordings, and the musical works embodied therein, audio-visual combinations, musical works, animations, voice chat, and audio data, and other types of work, standalone or in combination. For information about our content moderation practices, please visit our Safety and Security Center. If you use our voice chat feature and voice reporting is enabled in a voice channel, snippets of voice chat audio data will be stored on your device and the devices of participants in the voice channel. If a violation of our community rules is reported, these snippets may be transmitted to Epic and reviewed to enforce those rules. Subject to human review, Epic may analyze your in-game communications, including text and voice chat, with machine learning technologies to help identify harmful, toxic, or fraudulent behavior in our services. Oh my god. License to Epic. If you make or have made available any UGC in the services, you grant Epic permission to host, copy, import, store, modify, adapt, display, publicly perform, including by means of digital audio transmissions, reproduce, and make mechanical reproductions of musical works embodied in sound recordings, create derivative works of, including synchronize to visual images, publicly display, transfer, sublicense, and distribute, collectively use that UGC in whole or in part, including for commercial, publicity, and marketing purposes in any country. This permission is perpetual and irrevoceable and applies to any media platform or channel in connection with the software and services. The rights you grant to Epic in this section are provided on a through to the audience basis, which means the owners or operators of the third-party services will not have any separate liability to you or any other third party for UGC provided to or used on such third-party services via the service. Epic needs these permissions in order to make your UGC available to players as part of the services, i.e. in-game, and to make it available to streamers and content creators of the services, e.g. for use on other platforms. These rights need to be irrevoceable because of the many channels in which UGC is distributed by us and others after it's created. You understand that you are not entitled to receive any compensation, fees, consideration, or other remuneration in connection with your UGC for any reason, including Epic's exercise of the rights you grant to Epic in the section, and that Epic is not obligated to exercise the rights you grant. Suggested content. Fortnite recommends islands to help you Fortnite recommends islands to you to help improve your experience on the service and show you more of what you might like to play. We have several categories in Discover, such as trending, new experiences, and great with friends. Your home bar is the first row you see in your Discover page, which brings together recommendations of islands from these different types of categories. We organize and rank the islands we show you based on a range of factors, including your play history and game information, such as the number of users playing, the number of players of an island on their favorites, the number of edits for an island, how long a creator has spent editing your island, when an island was first seen, the number of buildings an island has, the average party size, and how often an island has been played, and for how long. You can choose to turn off your personalized game experience recommendations when using the Discover tab by going directly into your settings under Account Privacy and Gameplay Privacy, where you can switch this setting on and off. Musical works. Epic may, in its sole discretion, choose to make available sound recordings and the musical works embodied in the sound recordings licensed music in connection with UGC. If Epic makes available licensed music for use in your UGC, Epic grants you a non-exclusive, personal, limited, revocable, non-transferable license to synchronize the licensed music into UGC during the period of time that the licensed music is made available for the services, and B, play, listen, and interact with UGC containing licensed music solely for the services. Your modifications, e.g. edits, use of a portion of the licensed music to synchronize into the UGC are considered derivative works included in the definition of licensed music, the rights to which are retained by Epic and its licensors. Special rules for recording artists. If you're a composer or author of a musical work and are affiliated with or a member of a performing rights organization, B, under contract with a record label, or C, having signed your rights to a music publisher, then you must notify the interested party of the royalty-free license you grant through this agreement to Epic. You are solely responsible for ensuring your compliance with the relevant parties' reporting or contractual obligations, and if applicable, obtaining the consent of that party to grant the royalty-free licenses in this agreement, including if you create any new recordings through the service that your label may attempt to claim. You represent and warrant that any UGC containing licensed music is not subject to and Epic has no obligation to pay royalties to any third party, including without limitation a sound recording copyright owner, e.g. a record label, a musical work copyright owner, e.g. a music publisher, a pro, e.g. a SCAP, BMI, SESAC, etc. A sound recording pro, any unions or guilds or other third parties. Epic does not allow intellectual property infringement activities for the software or the services. You may not and agree not to create, generate, or make available through the software or the services any UGC to which you do not have the right to grant Epic such license and all the elements, including the licensed music of the UGC. If you do choose to create, generate, or make available your UGC for the software services, you are solely responsible for your UGC and represent the warrant that A, you are the creator and owner of and have all the necessary licenses and rights to use and authorize Epic to exploit the license granted above. B, your UGC and Epic's use of the UGC as contemplated under this agreement will not infringe or violate any third-party rights, including copyright, trademark, patent, trade secret, moral rights, or the rights of privacy or publicity. C, Epic does not need to obtain any further licenses, provide attribution, or pay royalties or other compensation to any third parties, and D, Epic's use of your UGC will not violate any third-party contract or cause Epic to violate any applicable laws or regulations. You are responsible for your UGC, so please don't make objectionable content available on or through the services. If you do, we may have to take it down. Epic may, but is under no obligation to edit or control any UGC you or others make available through the software and services. Epic may at any time screen remove, delete, edit, block, or refuse to publish UGC that violates this agreement or is otherwise objectionable as determined in Epic's sole discretion and without prior notice to any liability to you or any third party. If you provide UGC, you may only use the tools that Epic provides for the normal functionality of the service to remove or modify that specific type of UGC. End my life. You understand that you may be exposed to UGC. I'm joking. You understand that you may be exposed to UGC from a variety of sources when using the software or the services, and acknowledge that UGC may be inaccurate, offensive, indecent, or otherwise objectionable. You agree that Epic shall not be responsible or liable for your, or others' UGC. To the fullest extent permitted by law, you waive and agree to waive all rights of authorship, paternity, attribution, integrity, disclosure, withdrawal, and any other rights that are known or referred to as moral rights, artist rights, droit moral, or other similar rights recognized under any legal or equitable theory of any country or under any treaty, regardless of whether that right is referred to as a moral right. Collectively, moral rights in and to your UGC, you further knowing and oh my god, irrevocably agree to not exercise any moral rights in and to your UGC that you have not waived in any manner, wavered in any manner that interferes with any exercise of granted rights. You waive and agree not to assert your moral rights even if your UGC is altered or changed in a manner not agreeable to you. Number 6, feedback. If you provide Epic with any feedback, you hereby grant Epic a non-exclusive, fully paid, royalty-free, worldwide, perpetuable, irrevocable, sublicensable, transferable, and assignable license to use, reproduce, distribute, modify, adapt, prepare derivative works based on, publicly perform, publicly display, make, have, made, use, sell, offer to sell, import, and otherwise exploit any and all feedback for any purposes for all current and future methods and forms of exploitation. Feedback means suggestions, comments, ideas, and all other types of information, including software and code, that you provide, publish, or otherwise communicate directly or indirectly, including your employees, agents, contractors, or representatives. To Epic or its agents that relates to the services or software. If any such rights may not be licensed under applicable law, such as moral and other personal rights, you hereby waive and agree not to assert any such rights. You understand and agree that Epic is not required to make any use of any feedback that you provide. You agree that if Epic makes use of your feedback, Epic is not required to credit or compensate you for your contribution. You represent and warrant that you have sufficient rights in any feedback that you provide to Epic to grant Epic and other affected parties the rights described above. This includes, but is not limited to, intellectual property rights and other proprietary or personal rights. Number 7, ownership/third-party licenses. Epic and its licensors own all title, ownership rights, and intellectual property rights in the software and services. Features may be made available to you via the software and services that you provide. Prefabricated templates or in-game items to use in connection with your UGC defined below. However, your use of a template does not give you any copyrights or any other ownership in the template. Epic Games, Unreal Engine, and Fortnite and their respective logos are trademarks or registered trademarks of Epic and its affiliates in the United States of America and elsewhere. All rights granted to you under this agreement are granted by express license only and not by sale. No license or other right shall be created here under by implication, estoppel, or otherwise. The software includes certain components provided by Epic's licensors, a list of credits and notices for third-party components may be found in the game interface. Number 8, disclaimers and limitation of liability. Nothing in this agreement will prejudice the statutory rights that you may have as a consumer of the software or services. Some countries, states, provinces, or other jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion of certain warranties or the limitation of liability as stated in this section. So the below terms may not fully apply to you. Instead, in such jurisdictions, the exclusions and limitations below shall apply only to the extent permitted by laws of such jurisdictions. The software, including any other or any game currency and content and services provided on an as is and as available by us, which all faults and without warranty of any kind, Epic, its licensors, and their affiliates disclaim all warranties, conditions, common law duties, and representations, express, implied, oral, and written, with respect to the software and services, including without limitation all express, implied, and statutory warranties and conditions of any kind, such as title, non-interference with your enjoyment, authority, non-infringement, merchantability, fitness or suitability for any purpose, whether or not Epic knows or has reason to know of any such purpose, system integration or integration, accuracy or completeness, results, reasonable care, workman-like effort, lack of negligence, and lack of viruses, whether alleged to ours under law by reason of custom or usage in the trade or by cause of dealing, without limiting the generality of the foregoing. Epic, its licensors, and their affiliates make no warranty that, number 1, the software or services will operate properly, 2, that the software or services will meet your requirements, 3, that the operation of the software or services will be uninterrupted, bug-free, or error-free in any or all circumstances, or 4, that any defects in the software or services can or will be corrected. Any warranty against infringement that may be provided in Section 2312 of the Uniform Commercial Code or in any other comparable statute is expressly disclaimed. Epic, its licensors, and their affiliates do not guarantee continuous, error-free, virus-free, or secure operation of or access to the software or services. This paragraph will apply to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law. Please just end my life. No, I'm joking. I'm actually joking. I'm joking, YouTube. Some of these words are hard to pronounce. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, neither Epic nor its licensors or their affiliates nor any of Epic's service providers, collectively the Epic parties, shall be liable in any way for any loss of profits or any indirect, incidental, consequential, special, punitive, or exemplary damages arising, I don't even know, out of or in connection with this agreement or the software, including any game currency or content or services, or the delay of inability to use or lack functionality of the software services, even in the event of an Epic Party's fault, tort including negligence, strict liability, indemnity. I don't know. Indemnity. I don't know how to pronounce it. Product liability, breach of contract, breach of warranty, or otherwise, and even if an Epic Party has been advised of the possibility of such damages, further to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, the AGGREGATE aggregate liability of the Epic Party's arising out of or in connection with this agreement, or the software including any game currency or content or services will not exceed the total amounts you have paid, if any, to Epic for the software including any game currency or content during the 12 months immediately preceding the events giving rise to such liability, as limitations and exclusions regarding damages apply even if any remedy fails to provide adequate compensation. Are we nearly halfway? I don't know. And not number 9, indemnity. This section only applies to the extent permitted by applicable law. If you are prohibited by law form, enter into the indemnification obligation below, then you assume to the extent permitted by law all liability for all claims, demands, actions, losses, liabilities, and expenses, including attorney's fees, costs, and expert witnesses' fees that are the stated subject matter of the indemnification obligation below. You agree to indemnify, pay the defense costs of, and hold Epic, its licensors, its and their affiliates, and their employee officers, directors, agents, contractors, and other representatives harmless from all claims, demands, action, losses, liabilities, and expenses, including attorney's fees, costs, and expert witnesses' fees that are from or in connection with any claim that, if true, would constitute a breach by you of this agreement or negligence by you, b, any act or omission by you in using the software, including any game currency or content or services, or c, any claim of infringement or violation of any third-party intellectual property rights arising from Epic's use of your UGC or feedback as provided under sections 5 or 6 of this agreement. You agree to reimburse Epic on demand for any defense costs incurred by Epic and any payments made or loss suffered by Epic, whether in court judgment or settlement, based on any matter covered by this section 9. Number 10, termination. Without limiting any other rights of Epic, this agreement will terminate automatically without notice. If you fail to comply with any of its terms and conditions, you may also terminate this agreement by deleting the software from all devices on which you've installed it. Upon any termination, the license will automatically terminate. You may no longer exercise any of the rights granted to you by the license, and you must destroy all copies of the software in your possession. Except to the extent required by law, all payments and fees are non-refundable under all circumstances, regardless of whether or not this agreement has been terminated. Sections 2, 5, 13, and 15 to 17 will survive any termination of this agreement. Number 11, governing law and jurisdiction. This agreement is entered into in the state of North Carolina, USA, and shall be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the state of North Carolina, exclusive of its choice of law rules. For any disputes deemed not subject to binding individual arbitration as provided in the section immediately below, you and Epic agree to submit to the exclusive jurisdiction of the Superior Court of Wake County, North Carolina, or if federal court jurisdiction exists, the United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina. You and Epic agree to waiver any jurisdictional venue or convenient form objections to such courts without affecting either party's rights to remove a case to federal court if permissible, as well as any right to a jury trial. The Convention and on Contracts for the International Sale of Goods will not apply. Any law or regulation which provides that the language of a contract shall be construed against the drafter will not apply to this agreement. This paragraph will be interpreted as broadly as applicable law permits. Number 12, binding individual arbitration class action waiver. Please read this section carefully. It affects your rights, including your right to file a lawsuit in court. There is no judge or jury in arbitration, and discovery procedures and appellate rights are more limited than in court. Most issues can be resolved quickly and amicably by contacting Epic customer support at Epic Games customer service, but we understand that sometimes disputes can be easily resolved by customer support. This section explains how you and Epic agree to resolve these disputes, including where applicable, by binding individual arbitration. Arbitration is an alternative dispute resolution procedure that allows us to resolve issues without the formality of going to court. Any dispute between you and Epic is submitted to a neutral arbitrator, not a judge or jury, for fair and fast resolution. Arbitration is more efficient for both you and Epic. 12.1 Informal resolution. If you have an issue that our customer support can't resolve prior to starting arbitration, you and Epic agree to attempt to resolve the dispute informally to help get us to a resolution and control costs for both parties. You and Epic agree to make a good faith effort to negotiate any dispute between us for at least 30 days. Informal resolution. These informal negotiations will start on the day you or Epic receive a written notice of a dispute in accordance with this agreement. You will send your notice of dispute of Epic to Epic Games Inc. Legal Department, ATTN, Notice of Dispute Box 2542474, Walnut Street, Cary, North Carolina 27518 USA. Include your name, account name you use while playing Fortnite, address, how to contact you, what the problem is, and what you want Epic to do. If Epic has a dispute with you, Epic will send our notice of dispute to your registered email address and any billing address you have provided us. The notice of dispute sent by either party must include the sender's name, address, and other contact information, a description of the dispute, including any relevant account names, and what resolution to the dispute is being sought. All applicable statutes, of limitations will be considered told beginning on the day one of us sends a compliant notice of dispute to the other. You or Epic cannot proceed to arbitration without having first sent a compliant notice of dispute and completing the informal resolution period. In the event of disagreements over whether a compliant notice of dispute was sent or an arbitration was filed without completing informal resolution, the party aggrieved by this failure can seek relief from the state courts in Wake County, North Carolina, or if federal jurisdiction exists, the United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina, to enjoin the arbitration from proceeding until informal resolution has been completed, and to order the party that has not followed the informal resolution process to reimburse the other party for any arbitration fees and costs already incurred. Epic and you consent to the jurisdiction of such courts for this purpose. Oh my god. If you reside in the European Union, EU, you may also be entitled to submit your complaint to the European Commission's Online Dispute Resolution ODR platform. ODR allows EU consumers to resolve disputes related to the online purchases of goods and services without going to court. If the dispute isn't resolved within the informal resolution or small claims court below, you or Epic may start an arbitration in accordance with this agreement. 12.2 Small Claims Court. Instead of using informal resolution, you and Epic agree that you may sue us in small claims court in your choice of the country where you live or Wake County, North Carolina. If you meet the requirements of small claims court, we hope you'll try informal resolution first, but you don't have to before going to small claims court. 12.3 Binding individual arbitration. The arbitration proceedings in this section will be conducted on an individual basis only. You and Epic agree that disputes will be settled by binding individual arbitration conducted by National Arbitration and Mediation, NAM. The NAMADR.com. According to NAM's comprehensive dispute resolution rules and procedures in effect at the time the dispute arises, the rules as modified by this agreement. This agreement affects interstate commerce, and the enforceability of this section will be substantively and procedurally governed by the U.S. Federal Arbitration Act, FAA 9 U.S.C. What is that? 1 ETE SEQ and Federal Arbitration Law. Arbitration Law. And arbitration law. This means that you and Epic agree to dispute resolution process where we submit any dispute to a neutral arbitrator, not a judge or jury, that makes the final decision to resolve the dispute. NAM uses experienced professionals to arbitrate disputes, which helps you and Epic resolve any disputes fairly but more quickly and efficiently than going to court. The arbitrator may award the same remedies to you individually as a court could, but only to the extent required to satisfy your individual claim. The arbitrator's decision is final except for a limited review by courts under the U.S. Federal Arbitration Act and can be enforced like any other court or order or judgment. 12.3.1 Disputes we agree to arbitrate. You and Epic agree to submit all disputes between you and Epic to individual binding arbitration dispute. Means any dispute, claim, or controversy except those specifically exempt below between you and Epic that relates to your use or attempted use of Epic's products or services and Epic's products and services generally, including without limitation, the validity, enforceability, or scope of this binding individual arbitration section. You and Epic agree to arbitrate all disputes regardless of whether the dispute is based in contract, statute, regulation, or ordinance, tort, including fraud, misrepresentation, fraudulent inducement, or negligence, or any other legal or equitable theory. Equitable theory. The informal resolution and arbitration sections do not apply to 1. Individual actions in small claims court. 2. Pursuit of enforcement actions through a government agency if the law allows. 3. A compliant or remedy under the EU General Data Protection Regulation. 4. An action to compel or uphold any prior arbitration decision. 5. Epic's right to seek injunctive relief against you in a court of law to preserve the status quo while an arbitration proceeds. 6. Claims of privacy, creation, distribution, or promotion of cheats and intellectual property infringement. And 7. The enforceability of the class action waiver clause below. You and Epic agree that whether a dispute is subject to arbitration under this agreement will be determined by the arbitrator rather than a court. 12.3.2 Arbitration Procedure. You or Epic may initiate arbitration of any disputes not resolved by informal resolution by filing a demand for arbitration with NAM in accordance with the rules. Instructions for filing a demand for arbitration with NAM are available on the NAM website by emailing NAM at commercial namadr.com. You will send a copy of any demand for arbitration to Epic Games Inc., Legal Department, ATTN, Arbitration of Dispute Box 254-2474 Walnut Street, Cary, North Carolina 27518, USA. Epic will send any demand for arbitration to your registered email address and billing address you have provided us. The arbitration will be conducted by a single arbitrator. You and Epic both agree that the arbitration will be conducted in the English language and that the arbitrator will be bound by this agreement. If an in-person hearing is required, the hearing will take place in either in Wake County, North Carolina, where you reside. You choose. The arbiter, not a judge or jury, will resolve the dispute unless you and Epic agree otherwise. Any decision or award will include a written statement stating the decision of each claim and the basis for the award, including arbitrator's essential factual and legal findings and conclusions. The arbiter may only award legal equitable remedies that are requested by you or Epic to satisfy one of our individual claims that the arbiter determines are supported by credible, relevant evidence to the fullest extent allowed by applicable law. The arbiter may not award relief against Epic respecting any person other than you. Any decision or award may be enforced as a final judgment by any court of competent jurisdiction, or if an applicable application may be made to such court for judicial acceptance of any award and an order of enforcement. 12.3.3 Arbitration fees and location. If you start the arbitration, you must pay the NAM filing fee required for consumer arbitrations. In some situations, Epic will help with your fees to hopefully get us to a resolution quickly and fairly. If the dispute involves $10,000 or less, Epic will pay all the NAM filing fee, including the fee you otherwise would have been required to pay. If the above doesn't apply to you, but you demonstrate that the arbitration filing fee will be prohibitive compared to litigation costs, Epic will pay as much of your filing fee as the arbiter finds it's necessary to prevent arbitration from being cost prohibitive as compared to the cost of litigation. Yeah. For purposes of calculating damages under this paragraph, similar claims brought by multiple claimants represented by the same or coordinated counsel will be aggregated. In other words, if 20 people represented by the same or coordinate counsel seek $1,000 each, this will be treated for purposes of this section as a claim that seeks $20,000. Even if Epic wins the arbitration and the applicable law or the NAM rules allow Epic to see our portion of NAM fees from you, we won't. The fee assistance offered above is contingent upon you bringing the arbitration claim in good faith. If the arbiter finds you brought an arbitration claim against Epic for an improper purpose, frivolously, or without a sufficient pre-claim investigation into the facts or applicable law, then the payment of all fees will be governed by the rules. Filing fees Epic agrees to pay under the section NAM costs do not include your attorney's fees and costs, and attorney's fees and NAM and costs are not counted when determining how much a dispute involves. Epic won't seek our attorney's fees or expenses from you in any arbitration, even if the law or the rules entitle us to do so. If you choose to be represented by an attorney, you will pay your own attorney's fees and costs unless the applicable law provides otherwise. 12.3.4 Coordinated filings. I need to take a deep breath. I'm nearly done. If 25 or more notices of disputes are sent that raise similar claims and have the same or coordinated counsel, these will be considered coordinated cases and will be treated as mass fillings or multiple case fillings according to the rules if and to the extent coordinated cases are sought to be filled or to be filed in arbitration as set forth in this agreement. Epic or you may advise the other of its or your belief that cases are coordinated cases and disputes over whether a case or cases meet the contractual definition of coordinated cases will be decided by the arbitration provider as an administrative manner. Demands for arbitration in coordinated cases shall only be filed with the arbitration provider as permitted by the bellwether process set forth below. Epic will pay only its share of arbitration fees for coordinated cases filed in arbitration. The claimants will be responsible for their share of those fees. Applicable statutes of limitations will be told for claims asserted in a coordinated case from the time of a compliant notice of dispute that has been received by a party until under the terms of this agreement. The coordinated case is filed in arbitration or as provided for below in court. Once counsel in the coordinated cases has advised Epic that all or substantially all notices of dispute have been provided for those cases, counsel for the parties shall confer in good faith. Regarding the number of cases that should be proceeded in arbitration as bellwethers to allow each side a reasonable opportunity to test the merits of its arguments. If counsel for the parties do not agree on the number of bellwethers, an even number shall be chosen by the arbitration provider as an administrative matter or in the arbitration providers. Alright, sorry about that, boys. Had to take a little break. Alright, we're back though. We're here, discretion. By a process arbitrator, factors that the arbitration provider may consider in deciding how many bellwether trials to order include the complexity of the dispute and differences in facts or applicable laws. Among various cases, once the number of bellwethers is fixed by agreement or by the arbitration provider, each side shall select half that number from among the claimants who have provided compliant notices of dispute, and only those chosen cases may be filled with the arbitration provider. No other cases may be filed until those bellwether matters have concluded, and Epic Games may not be required to pay any fees associated with arbitration demands other than those permitted to be filed as bellwethers. The parties acknowledge that resolution of coordinated cases not selected as bellwethers will be delayed by this bellwether process. Unless the parties agree otherwise, each bellwether trial should be assigned to a different arbitrator. Only bellwether trials will proceed in arbitration once all bellwether trials are concluded or sooner if the counsel for the claimants and Epic agree. The parties must engage in a single mediation of all remaining coordinated cases, with each side paying half the applicable mediation fee. Epic and counsel for the claimants must agree on a mediator within 30 days after the conclusion of the last bellwether trial. If counsel for Epic and claimants cannot agree on a mediator within 30 days, the arbitration provider will appoint a mediator as an administrative matter. Epic and counsel for the claimants will cooperate for the purpose of ensuring that the mediation is scheduled as quickly as practicable after the mediator is appointed. If the mediation does not yield a global resolution, and this arbitration requirement shall no longer apply to disputes that are the subject of coordinated cases for which a compliant notice of dispute was received by the other party but that were not resolved in bellwether proceedings. Such disputes may be filed only in the state courts in the Wake County, North Carolina, or if federal jurisdiction exists in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina, and you consent as part of this agreement to venue such cases exclusively in these courts. Nothing in this paragraph shall be construed as prohibiting either you or Epic from removing a case from state or federal court. If removal is allowed under applicable law to the extent you are asserting the same claims as other persons and are represented by common or coordinated counsel, you agree to waive any objection that the joinder of all such persons is impracticable. If a formally arbitrable dispute is brought in court, claimants may seek class treatment, but to the fullest extent allowed by applicable law. The classes sought may comprise only the claimants in the coordinated cases who provided compliant notices of dispute. Any party may contest class certification at any stage of the litigation and on any available basis. The state courts of Wake County, North Carolina, are federal jurisdiction is this. The United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina shall have authority to enforce the bellwether process and may enjoin the filing of lawsuits, arbitration demands not made in compliance with it. You consent to the jurisdiction of such courts for this purpose. 12.3.5 Notice and filling. If the dispute must be arbitrated, you or Epic must start arbitration of the dispute within 2 years from when the dispute first arose. If applicable law requires you to bring a claim for the dispute sooner than 2 years after the dispute first arose, you must start arbitration in that earlier time. Period. Epic encourages you to tell us about the dispute as soon as possible so we can work to resolve it. The failure to provide timely notice shall bar all claims. 12.3.6 Continuation in effect. The dispute resolution process set forth in the section survives any termination of this agreement or Epic's provision of services to you. 12.3.7 Future arbitration changes. Although Epic may revise this agreement in its discretion, Epic does not have the right to alter the terms of arbitration or the rules specified herein with respect to any dispute once that dispute arises. If such change would make arbitration procedures less favorable to the claimant, whether change procedures are less favorable to the claimant is an issue to be decided by the arbitrator, and if multiple claimants are proceeding in coordinated cases, the applicability of revised terms to the coordinated cases will be decided by the arbiter provider as a process matter. 12.4 Class action waiver. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law for any case not to subject to the requirement to arbitrate except to the limited extent discussed above for unresolved coordinated cases, you and Epic agree to only bring disputes, claims, or controversies between you and Epic that relates to you and Epic product or the Epic products generally you use or attempt use of an Epic product or this agreement in an individual capacity, and shall not seek to bring, join, or participate in any class or representative action, collective or class-wide arbitration, or any other action where another individual or entity acts in a representative capacity, e.g. private attorney general actions, or consolidate or combine individual proceedings, or permit another to do so without the express consent of all parties. 12.5 Severability. If all or any provision of this section is found invalid or unenforceable or illegal, then you and Epic agree that a provision will be served and the rest of the agreement shall remain in the effect and be construed as if any served provision had not been included. The sole exception is that if the prohibition on class arbitrations is found invalid, unenforceable, or illegal, you and Epic agree that it will not be servable. This entire Section 12, except for Section 12.4, will be void and unenforceable, and any dispute will be resolved in court subject to the venue and choice of clauses specified in this agreement. Under no circumstances shall arbitration be conducted on a class basis without Epic's express consent. 12.6 Your 30-day right to opt out. You have the right to opt out of and not be bound by the arbitration class action waiver provisions set forth in this agreement. To exercise this right, you must send written notice of your decision to the following address: Epic Games Inc., Legal Department, ATTN, Arbitration out, Box 254-2474 Walnut Street, Cary, North Carolina 27518, USA. Your notice must include your name, mailing address, and account name used while playing Fortnite, and the state that you do not wish to resolve disputes with Epic through arbitration. To be effective, this notice must be postmarked or deposited within 30 days of the date on which you first accepted this agreement, unless a longer period is required by applicable law. Otherwise, you will be bound to arbitrate disputes in accordance with this section. You are responsible for ensuring that Epic receives your out notice, so you may wish to send it by a means that provides for a delivery receipt. If you opt out of these arbitration provisions, Epic will not be bound by them with respect to disputes with you. 13. U.S. Government Matters. The software is a commercial item as defined at 48 CFR Section 2. 101, consisting of commercial computer software and commercial computer software documentation as used in 48 CFR 112.212 or 48 CFR 227.7202 as applicable. The software is being licensed to the U.S. government and users only as commercial items, and with only those rights as are granted to other licensees under this agreement. You agree to comply with all applicable federal and foreign laws, regulations, and rules, and complete any required undertakings. You agree not to use, export, or re-export, or download the software or services into or to a national or resident of any country to which the U.S. has embargoed goods, or to anyone on the U.S. Treasury Department's list of specially designated nationals of the U.S. Commerce Department's table of denial orders. You represent and warrant that you are not located and under the control of, or a national or resident of any U.S. restricted or prohibited country, or in any U.S. restricted or prohibited list. Number 14. Amendments of this agreement. Epic may issue an amended agreement, terms of service, or privacy policy at any time in its discretion by posting the amended agreement, terms of service, or privacy policy on its website, or by providing you with a digital access to amended versions of any of these documents when you next access the software. If any amendment to this agreement, the terms of service, or privacy policy is not acceptable to you, you may terminate this agreement and must stop using the software. Your continued use of the software will demonstrate your acceptance of the amended agreement and terms of service, as well as your acknowledgement that you have read the amended privacy policy. Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. Number 15. No assignment. You may not, without the prior written consent of Epic, assign, transfer, charge, or subcontract all of any of your rights or obligations under this agreement, and any attempt without that consent will be null and void. If restrictions on transfer of the software in this agreement are not enforceable under the law of your country, then this agreement will be binding on any recipient of the software. Epic may at any time assign, transfer, charge, or subcontract all of or any of its rights or obligations under this agreement. Number 16. Definitions. As used in this agreement, in the following capitalized words have the following meanings. Cheat detection means functionality intended to identify cheats. Cheats means programs, methods, or other processes which may give players an unfair competitive advantage in the software. Confidential information means any non-public information related to the software, including without limitation information related to gameplay or the content, game currency, content, the services you own, feedback and comments, and the feedback or comments of any licensee of the software or any Epic representative. Content means any virtual items, virtual environments such as islands, or any content that Epic makes available for you to access or download through or in connection with the software, and expressively includes licensed music and UGC that has been licensed to us by our users. Epic means depending on the location of your primary residence. At Epic Games Inc., a Maryland corporation having its principal business offices at Box 254-2474 Walnut Street, Cary, North Carolina 27518, USA, or B. Epic Games Entertainment International GmbH, a limited liability company organized under the laws of Switzerland, having its registered office at Plate 106039 Route D4, Switzerland. Feedback means any feedback or suggestions that you provide to Epic regarding the software services or other Epic products and services. Services mean any services made available to you for the software, including services to acquire, maintain, and use game currency and content. Software means the proprietary software applicable application known as Fortnite, and any patches, updates, and upgrades to the application and all related content and documentation made available to you by Epic under this agreement, including but not limited to all software code, titles, themes, objects, characters, names, dialogue, catchphrases, locations, stories, artwork, animation, concepts, sounds, audio, visual effects, methods of operation, and musical compositions that are related to the application, and any copies of any of the foregoing software specifically includes all game currency and content for which you have paid the associated fee or otherwise acquired a license under Section 4. Miscellaneous, number 17. This agreement and any document or information referred to in this agreement constitute the entire agreement between you and Epic relating to the subject matter covered by this agreement. All other communication proposals and representations with respect to the subject matter covered by this agreement are excluded. The original of this agreement is in English. Any translations are provided for reference purposes only. It is the express wish of the parties that these terms and all related documents have been drawn up in English. Let's parties declaring qualies. I can't read all this. The monthly it part les parentstes confirmant leur desir express q set convention soit redigi in unless you waive any right you may have under the law of your country to have this agreement written or constructed in the language of any other country. This agreement describes certain legal rights you may have, other rights under the laws of your jurisdiction. This agreement does not change your rights under the laws of your jurisdiction. If the laws of your jurisdiction do not permit it to do so, limitations and exclusions of warranties, remedies in this agreement may not apply to you because your jurisdiction may not allow them in your particular circumstance. In the event that certain provisions of this agreement are held by a court or tribunal of competent jurisdiction to be unenforceable, those provisions shall be enforced only to the furthest extent possible under applicable law, and the remaining terms of this agreement will remain in full force and effect. Any act by Epic to exercise or failure or delay in exercise of or any of its rights under this agreement at law or in equity will not demean a waiver of those any other rights or remedies available in contract at law or inequity. You agree that this agreement does not confer any rights or remedies or on any person other than the parties to this agreement, except as expressly stated. Epic's obligations are subject to existing laws and legal process, and Epic may comply with the law enforcement or regularity requests or requirements despite any contrary term in this agreement. Number 18, additional platform terms. 18.1 Sony PlayStation users. The following additional terms and conditions apply with respect to the software available for use on PlayStation devices that you own or control. Please note that Epic will store PlayStation Network account information, including your email address and online ID, as explained in Epic's privacy policy. Epic may allow its users to search for other Epic accounts by their account for PlayStation Network account, and other Epic users may send you friend requests. Your account for PlayStation Network privacy settings will not apply to your Epic account. In no event may you convert any software virtual currency into real currency, tangible goods, or in kind consideration, and you are expressly forbidden from engaging in off-platform sales or exchanges of such virtual currency, such as at eBay or other auction sites. For SIEA users, purchase and use of items are subject to the network terms of service and user agreement. This online service has been sub-licensed to you by Sony Interactive Entertainment America. For SIEE users, any content purchased in an in-game store will be purchased from Sony Interactive Entertainment Network Europe Limited SIENE and be subject to PlayStation Network terms of service and user agreement, which is available in the PlayStation Store. Please check usage rights for each purchase, as these may differ from item to item unless otherwise shown. Content available in any in-game store has the same age rating as the game. 18.2 Microsoft Xbox users. Kill me. Don't kill. No, don't. The following additional terms and conditions apply with respect to the software available for use on Xbox Live devices that you own or control. Neither Microsoft Corporation nor any of its affiliates, collectively Microsoft, have any maintenance or support obligations with respect to the softwares or services. Nothing in this agreement shall govern or change in any way your relationship with Microsoft under any agreements between you and Microsoft, including the Xbox Live terms of use. Further, to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, the aggregate liability of the Epic parties other than Microsoft arising out or in connection with this agreement or the software, including any game currency or content or services, will not exceed the total amounts you have paid, if any, to Epic for the software, including any game currency or content during the 12 months immediately preceding the events giving rise to such liability, and Microsoft shall have no liability to you arising out of or in connection with this agreement or the software, including any game currency or content or services. The limitations and exclusions regarding damages apply even if Remedy fails to provide adequate compensation. 18.3 Apple iOS users. The following additional terms and conditions apply with respect to software available for use on any Apple Inc., Apple iPhone, or iPad devices that you own or control. You acknowledge that your agreement is not with Apple. Epic, not Apple, is solely responsible for the software and the content thereof. Your use of the software shall be subject to the terms of this agreement and as permitted by the usage rules set forth in the App Store. Terms and conditions as of the date you downloaded or first used the software, which you acknowledge you have had the opportunity to review. You agree that Apple has no maintenance or support obligations with respect to the software or services. You acknowledge and agree that Apple is not responsible for any product warranties, whether expressed or implied by law, with respect to the software or services. If you are legally entitled to a warranty in your country or other jurisdiction, then in the event of any failure of the software or services to conform to such required warranty, you may notify Apple, and Apple will refund the purchase price, if any, paid by you to Apple for the software to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law. Apple will have no other warranty obligation whatsoever with respect to the software or services, and any other claims, losses, liabilities, damages, costs, or expenses attributable or to any failure to conform to such required warranty will be Epic's sole responsibility. However, you understand and agree that in accordance with this agreement, Epic has disclaimed all warranties of any kind with respect to the software and services, and therefore there are no warranties applicable to the service or software or services except those required by law. Oh my god, we're nearly done. As between Apple and Epic, Epic, not Apple, is responsible for addressing your or any third-party claims relating to the software or services or your possession and or use of the software or services, including, but not limited to, product liability claims, 2, any claim that the software or services fail to conform to any applicable legal or regulatory requirement, and 3, claims arising under consumer protection and similar legislation in the event of any third-party claim that the software or services or your possession and use of the software or services infringes that third party's intellectual property rights. Epic, not Apple, will be solely responsible for the investigation, defense, settlement, and discharge of any intellectual property infringement claim, if and to the extent required under this agreement. You agree that this agreement does not confer any rights or remedies on any person other than the parties to this agreement, except as expressly stated, notwithstanding the foregoing Apple and Apple's subsidiaries are third-party benefac I don't know. BENEFICIARIES. Beneficiaries, I don't know, of this agreement, and upon your acceptance of this agreement, Apple will have the right and will be deemed to have accepted the right to enforce this agreement against you as a third-party beneficiary thereof. Oh my god. Any end-user questions, complaints, or claims with respect to the software should be directed to help@fortnite.com. Disclosure requirement, monthly active users in the EU, updated August 16, 2024. The estimate average monthly active recipients in the European Union of Fortnite for the past 6 months was 19.4 million. The estimated average monthly active recipients in the European Union of Fortnite.com for the past 6 months was 2.3 million. Users who accessed more than one of Epic's services or products in a given month are counted as a user for each service or product. Oh my gosh. That was annoying as fuck. Kill me. Actually, don't kill me. I'm joking. I'm fine. But, Jesus fucking Christ. That took so long to do. Oh my god, that was so long. I read Fortnite's end-user license agreement in one video. Oh my god. Please subscribe for a low taper fade.